Yeah, so we're with Brandon here from Jungle Scout at Accelerate 2024. Every time I start to say that, I feel like I'm at a different convention. Do you feel like everyone's naming it Innovate, Accelerate? It's always some sort of term like that?
Yeah, it varies from person to person. It's never the same twice. Sometimes it's Accelerate, it's an Acceleration. I've heard Accelerate Summit.
Very fast.
Oh man,
a lot of fast stuff.
Lots of things.
But this is my first time have you been to Utah before?
I have not. First time in Utah. First time at the Accelerate show or conference. So first time here. Beautiful city though. When you fly in, gorgeous. The mountain view. Oh my goodness.
It looked like a Coors Light can when I was staring at it. I was like, this is not real.
That's right.
And
this movie set is amazing.
Yeah, this is a simulation for sure. But everything, I'm from New York City. Everything is pristine here.
Yeah,
super clean. I've never seen a bathroom that had floor-to-ceiling doors. That's insane. I'm used to like New York City bathrooms where you're almost like
if you get a door, hey, how lucky are you?
With your foot on the door to make sure no one comes in. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm super excited to talk more about Jungle Scout. And before we started recording, I told you like I know Jungle Scout, but I want to know more. Yeah. I want to know more about where the landscape's going, where you guys see the landscape going for Amazon for the next 2 quarters, and like what is Jungle Scout's solution? Who is it helping? Who is it for? Who is it not for? Maybe it might not be for certain people, right? And then all that kind of good stuff.
No, I love it. All right, so the Jungle Scout spiel, right? What is Jungle Scout? Jungle Scout offers a all-in-one solution for small and medium business sellers. We've kind of always done that. We've always been kind of portrayed as, Jungle Scout's just good for product research. And we are very good at that. But our tool encompasses a lot more than that. If you're a more established seller, you're past the launch phase. You've got some products, you have some velocity, and things are moving along. Now you need to manage your business more effectively. The Jungle Scout user interface web app is really effective for that because it can integrate your selling data. You'll be able to track your sales, track your inventory, set up your purchase order notifications and look at your keywords and how are they searching and what's trending and all these different data points so you can make better informed decisions, right? To run your business. And so we've been in the space since 2015. We were the first, we kind of pioneered the space. The Jungle Scout was the first platform that offered anyone data analytics for Amazon. Right? Other than what you could try to get from Amazon. First in the space, so we've been in longer than anyone else. We have more integrated data than anybody else because we have longer time to aggregate it. So our data models are much tighter and better trained just because there's a lot more signal source information. And so, not to talk bad about anybody else, as I was mentioning, right? Everybody's got a software that's good for something. And just, as a user, talk about like Coke and Pepsi. What is it you like? What is it you need? Right. Find the right thing. Right. I'm a very big believer of that, right? So like if a Jungle Scout platform fits your needs, fantastic. Great. If not, let's find you someone that does. Like, that's cool. This is a relatively small space. We'll probably work together again at some point. Yeah. That's kind of how this works.
Well, the landscape's getting a little bit yes and no. Like, we talk about Coke, Pepsi. It seems like in the space right now, keeping that analogy, there's Coke, Pepsi, there's Dr. Pepper, there's Sunkist, there's Sprite, there's a lot of other people.
Oh no, you're getting real off. We're getting RC Cola.
We're getting Shasta. Like we're really going to the trenches with that kind of stuff.
And then we're on the other side over here. We got Fanta. Yeah, okay, we expect Fanta. We're getting some farther and farther and like just more and more. And you're right, there is more of that, and you're seeing a lot more of that. And I think from a seller perspective, or a large brand or agency, right? You also you want to look at, it's great, there's all this innovation, lots of new businesses, but also who is a seasoned vet in the space, right? When I go and I talk to a business like Jungle Scout that's been, doors open since 2015, nearly a decade in with Amazon data, they know what they're talking about. The team has been looking at the information. There's just a different level of trust there of, when we look at your data and we talk with you, you haven't been around for 6 months. You've been around for 10 years. A little bit different conversation, a little bit more seasoned with Amazon data as well, much like selling.
You have the weight behind it, right? That you've already gone through best practice for whatever algorithms being ran, whatever kind of software, whatever kind of ease of use, right? So talk to me more about like, why would someone use Jungle Scout, right? If I'm looking to do a product launch, if I'm looking to optimize what I currently have, if I'm looking to integrate into my agency, like what levels of the solution can be deployed from Jungle Scout to affect all those different kind of use cases?
Usually for Jungle Scout, like how are we gonna do this, right? Think, as you mentioned, right? Really into use cases. Data's data, but what do you do with it? If you can't do anything with it, it just is, and that's not really helpful to anybody, right? So, number of different ways, right? As I mentioned, right, we've always been known for product research on the front end of things. Let me find what's trending in this space, what's selling well in a certain area that I either have manufacturing capabilities in already, or I already have products that could be launched in that space, and it's just more of finding the right launch path or the right place to put it in market. So let's look at a little bit of the market dynamics there of what is trending and where's their white space, right? One of the things we look at, we just released an annual seller report, 5 best, 5 worst categories to operate in. Looking at data points.
I could tell you right off the bat without even looking at the
Oh, you're just gonna know, right? Yeah, right away.
I know what the worst ones are. Or how high level are the categories? Is it product specific or just category?
Just category specific. So think like top level.
All right, cell phone accessories is number 5. It's got to be.
Well, it falls under electronics, which is the worst.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
It's the pits, as they say.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
I would say another one is, for compliance purposes, probably baby products.
Because all the regulations, all the certifications you have to have, and then I just read an email this week from Chris at Cartograph, another Austinite with Cartograph.
Are you rubbing it in that I don't live in Austin now?
No, because you're going to live in Austin, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome. We're going to hang out. No, Chris he sends out an email, and I was reading about it, and it's talking about that Amazon's launching more tightening up more restrictions on more types of products.
Yeah.
So like in that space, now it's going to be more of, well, yes, you provided this certification, but we don't necessarily believe it or we don't trust it, so you have to go to these people now and get this next level.
It's happening with supplements a lot too.
Oh, as I say, yeah, in the supplement space, it's absolutely going to get hammered with that.
Yep. You might as well just sell paper cups on Amazon at this point. You're just trying to wing it.
I don't know. Are they biodegradable? Are they made of recycled paper? I mean, there's going to be someone somewhere.
It's a pesticide automatically, right?
That's right. What wax is on that paper? Hold on now. So,
but then like, understand you have a tool that takes the data, that aggregates data, that helps you use the data, right? What's 2.0? What's 3.0? What's just come out on Jungle Scout, and what's in the pipeline to come out that you can actually talk about that?
Oh, sure.
Look forward to.
Absolutely. And I love that you said 2.0 and 3.0. So we've got Jungle Scout, the flagship platform. Everybody knows, right? All the orange branding, right? The Jungle Scout.
By the way, I need some socks. I see a lot of people with like Jungle Scout socks on, and I'm like sockless with these socks. So.
Oh, those are Argyle socks. Oh, I saw the guys at PickFu. They were sporting them.
Yeah, and I'm over here.
They're both like A+. They're really comfortable.
And I'm over here with these cheap like Amazon Basic socks. So
Well, I know a guy. He's standing over that way. He can get us some socks. I know a guy.
Cool.
I know a guy. Okay, so all right. So Jungle Scout flagship platform, like that orange branding, as we were joking about. Good for small, medium sellers to run your business. When your focus is at the ASIN level. How many sales did I get on this ASIN yesterday? And it's kind of. Complications are pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's a good way to think about it, right? So we have another platform, other part of our offering, the enterprise side of the house, if you want to call it that, and it's called Cobalt, right? Branded in blue, hence Cobalt Blue, right?
This is why I've heard that name before. I've heard people saying it, and I'm the typical New Yorker that never wants to admit that he doesn't know it. I'm like, totally. In my head, I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, but okay.
Yeah. So
is that more for larger individual brands, or is that more for agencies?
A bit of both, right?
Okay.
Large agencies, large global brands. A good differentiator is what's your level of complication, right? If you've got a product catalog of 50 products, there's a certain level of degree of complication and PPC and whatnot. If you've got 500 products, you've got 5,000 products, they just exponentially compound on what you have to deal with. And so you hit a point where the focus isn't what did this ASIN do yesterday in sales, it's how's my brand trending in market in the last 6 months? Have we earned market share points? Are we up? Are we down? Because that could represent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And so the Cobalt platforms were designed for that level of focus, much higher level, much longer trends over time, larger catalogs,
more upper funnel brand awareness kind of stuff, or is that?
Yeah, more larger brands in Amazon from like a revenue perspective, and the amount you work. So you mentioned being with agencies, right? You might have a brand that we have 50,000 products in our catalog.
That gives me a headache. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, but which ones should we launch in Amazon? All right, well. Let's take a look. That's the kind of mentality.
So how can don't divvy away from that real quick. So let's say someone's never been on Amazon before. They have a robust catalog for like their .com. Can you import your catalog into Jungle Scout and then take a look at those listings, take a look at those items, and then, or do I have to manually go look through them? No.
What you could do is you could create like a market segment. You have a list of ASINs already, or products already, types of products, or a space that you want to work in.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. You could go ahead. Let's say you've already got, I've got all these ASINs in market. You could go and pull all that data together and model it out and see how we're trending. But not just for you, for all your competitors as well. So everyone in your space that's selling what you sell. You have 10% of market. I have 12% of market. What's your price point? What's my price point? What's our head-to-head like unit to unit? How many am I selling estimated versus you? And what is that? Where's that different? And what's your top product? and how is it comparable to mine?
But see, I like all this, and whenever I hear about data, I think of the most complex, like an Amazon flat feed file. That's what makes me think of like so much data, where it's like so many rows. Like, how easy is it digestible for the data? Because if it's not easily digestible or easily actionable, it kind of falls to the wayside for a lot of people. And I've seen people get like data fatigue and that kind of thing.
Oh. Man, okay, so we joke about it. It's like hitting a wall of data in Amazon. So, here's a spreadsheet, 500 columns. Oh my, I'm cross-eyed just thinking about it.
I'm just taking the Excedrin right now.
I don't even. I'm just side scrolling. Just keep going. I'm in the double-digit columns. Keep going. Yeah, no, I hate that. So it's too much. So one of the things we knew is there's so much information, but sellers or brands, even agencies, you need certain data at certain points. You don't need all of it all the time. You need it for certain things. And so, hence that when I said 2.0, we just launched last year Cobalt 2.0, kind of the next version of it. And one of the huge drivers of that was visualization. Here's all this data. So Cobalt 2.0, you've got market share data, which you define as the market. So it's not just pick a category, that's all you get. Well, what are you looking for? What are the most relevant brands and products? Let's put parameters in there so your market's reflective of what really makes sense. Get rid of noise, get it focused. Right? So you got that, but then you also can integrate your selling partner data. So Vendor Central, Seller Central, your Amazon Ads data.
You're doing 1P, 3P,
1P, 3P, all that integrated. So all of your data flows into one tool. So now you've got everything in one housing, right? I got it all in one place now, which we all know from Amazon reporting. You can find your data, but a lot of times you have to download it in a lot of different places, and then you
like brand registry and stuff like that.
Yes, and then you get it all, and you have to Dr. Frankenstein it together in a spreadsheet, right? And everybody when I said that, I was like, oh yes, that you're speaking my language. And while it's doable, it becomes a huge manual lift. It's hard to scale. And you got to keep doing it week in and week out, and that's a pain for everybody. So imagine, right? Your data's integrated, and this is what Cobalt does. And it's living data sets. It's updating daily as Amazon's data updates.
But is it like more of a dashboard or more of like a extension plugin? Like what does it look like?
Yeah, so that's the question. So it is a dashboard. So it's a dynamic dashboard tool.
Nice.
So here's the way I look at it, because I do all the onboarding and training. So it works out great. I always explain it to people like this. Who's this report for? Like, who are we giving this information to? Who's the end user? Is it for a data analyst? They probably want a lot of data columns. They want the nitty gritty. Is it for the C-suite? Does this say just state of the business report, quarterly review, high level? They don't want a table of data. They want red light, green light graphing. They want columns. They want donuts. They want to see things visually that they can quickly ingest, understand, and move on.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so in the dynamic kind of dashboard functionality is you've got that like a sliding scale. How complicated do you want to make it, or how simplified do you need it to view based on who your end user is? Create your own dashboards, your own reports. You can save them, you can copy them and scale them. So you worked at an agency as well, right? So we also talk about like with a problem that agencies run into is we want to grow our book of business, but we don't want to throw more headcount at it if we have to add more reporting and more work, because now that's not helping, because that's P&L it's climbing.
And
right?
I will say, without saying the name of the agency and the name of the tool, that you required more seats for the tool and you were given a limited number of uses of certain tools per day and per month, and I found myself getting hit with being rate limited and stuff like that. So, and the cost was very, very high. So how without getting into the nitty gritty, but like, what's pricing model look like? Like, is it all the way down like affordable for like a mom and pop that's just getting going, all the way through like enterprise? Like what's that range look like? So
down on the mom and pop side, that's probably going to be that small medium business platform, the traditional classic Cobalt, Jungle Scout plugin in Chrome, all of that, monthly fee, very affordable, easy, gets you what you need. At the Cobalt level, it's enterprise, right? A lot more data, a lot larger data sets, but you can customize it because there's different modules that do different tools, right? This is keyword research, data types, share voice metrics. This is market research or advertising PPC management, right? So you can adjust your bids and budget in Cobalt and route it to Amazon instead of having to go to AMS.
And then do you have do you vet people to make sure that this solution is for them, or if it's not for them?
Yes.
Because I know a lot of businesses will just take people's money just because, okay, I'll take your money. But at the end of the day, if it's not relevant, right, are they vetted that you need this, like right person, right seat?
I'm a big believer, right person, right place, right time, and right tool.
Yeah.
And if those don't line up, if any one of those is missing or doesn't get the box checked, then it's probably not good business. Yeah. And I was in sales before, right? And you get that in the sales kind of world. If you've got to close every deal,
but not
all business is good business.
Yeah.
Because if it's not the right fit, or if what they're looking for, and this is what I said
Churn,
earlier,
reviews, negative reviews,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
that's what I said earlier. Like there's a right tool for everybody, and maybe it's our tool, maybe it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Find it that fits you, because I don't want to sell you a tool you don't need, or doesn't get you where you need to be, or give you the data you need to move your business forward, because it's going to be a bad relationship. You're not going to be happy with us.
Yeah,
We're going to be frustrated trying to help you because we're not succeeding, and then, as you said, bad reviews, kind of a negative feeling and vibe, and we just want to avoid all that.
Yeah.
So we don't push it on people in that aspect. We do a lot to, we'll call it like pre-qualify. Like, what's the best fit for you based on what's important? So we ask a lot of questions, like calibrated or verb-led questions. Well, what are you trying to do in business? What data set's important? What are your goals in 2024, 2025?
Yeah.
Where are you in your Amazon journey? Is if you're a smaller seller, kind of where are you? If you're a larger brand, how established are you in Amazon? Because we also know, and you run into this as well, I'm sure, large brands that haven't been on Amazon and come to Amazon, we've been in business 50 years. They really struggle to succeed in Amazon because they're so entrenched and ingrained in how they do it in brick and mortar and Nielsen and IRI data, which is all great, but it's
an old dog new tricks.
It's not the same game at all.
100%.
And so, how do you transition that? So, what's the right set of tools?
Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish? And fitting the right platform to the right person. And if it's not, if it doesn't fit for us, there may be a better solution, right? A Helium 10 or a PickFu or Sky. Somebody else might work better for what you're trying to do. Great. Listen, go work with them, because later on we may work again in a different capacity.
Pepsi.
Shake hands, part friends. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
What are you thinking now that we know the Cold Bowl 2.0? Is there anything coming out in the
where's it going? You asked that earlier. Like, what's next? What can I talk about? So we're currently right now. I had a talk this morning actually at Accelerate on AI. Of all things.
I was listening while we were getting breakfast, and I'm like, I'm trying to listen, but
we can talk more about it.
The
That's
bacon was
cool.
a lot louder than.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging. If it's me or bacon, I'm going to lose every time, hands down.
What are you talking about, like LLMs, or how to use AI in like your tool?
So I was talking a bit about LLMs, but we're using AI and LLMs, generative software, and we're integrating it into the tool. Mm-hmm. So, all right, here's all your data, and we've got all this historical data. So let's say we've got 4 years of vendor central historical data plugged in. We've got your ads data, and it's integrated with 95 days of historical data from when you integrate it. And that's not a rolling window. So the longer we go, the more data to kind of crunch through, right? So we're working right now actively to bring forward more actionable insights in-app, where it says, okay, based upon what we're seeing from, let's say, ads data, we've noticed in the last 30 days, the last 60 days, whatever, attribution window, these keywords are only converting at X% or not at all, or your ACoS is, really high on this. We recommend maybe, the actionable insight, you might want to, negative harvest these, you might want to adjust this, you might want to adjust an ad spend or budget, or, have you noticed you're losing share of voice on this keyword, which is you've identified as your most relevant. Here's the brand or the ASIN that's booting you off.
So it's taking the data, you're giving it prompts, right?
Right.
It's aggregating the data to give people the actionable, tangible things to do. That's
exactly.
cool.
Yeah. So it's like, what would you do if you're going to analyze it? What questions you're going to ask? What are you going to try to pull out of it? And the system just based upon just fundamental questions you would ask. Not even like super niche type questions, just fundamental. Where are we wasting ad spend? Like just show me where we're wasting ad spend, analyze my data, and it's going to do that for you. And say, well, if you negative harvested these 5 keywords alone, we could forecast it would save you $50,000 in ad spend based off the historical what we see.
Oh, you even give a forecast on that?
I mean, it can give you that type of information based upon what we see. Like if things were to continue exactly as they are, which we know that never happens, but it can give you an idea though of what could be the impact of that.
People like understanding where they can be going as opposed to just like screaming into the darkness and the abyss of just like, I need to do something, Yeah. But that's very cool. Now, we talked a little bit before we started recording about images and creative assets and validation, stuff like that. And that's something you guys aren't doing just yet, right?
Correct.
And that's kind of where PickFu can kind of help in regards to, hey, your SEO is buttoned up, your bullet points, your alt text, everything is going well, but you're still not getting the click, right? So that's when it falls on the image and how compelling the image is to get that kind of click, and also parlaying into ads, right? So we talk about ad management, stuff like that. Is this ad compelling to my ICP and my avatar, my audience, or is it not? So I think that, pairing a tool like Jungle Scout with a tool like PickFu is going to give you data on both ends to really kind of overhaul the landscape of your listing for the better. Oh,
absolutely. On the Jungle Scout side, you can start trying to see what's happening and start trying to identify what is the why of what's happening, right? Which I think is a crucial thing. We were talking a bit about this, where are we losing the buyer, right? right? Are we on the search page? Are we visible? Where are we? Are we top of search? Whatever. We're there. We should. Okay, we're prime location. Are they clicking on us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
No.
then you look at like
Right?
the brand analytics, right? So the ICAP, the image impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases, right?
Right.
So if you have a lot of impressions, not a lot of clicks, then it's your CTR and your main hero image. If you have a lot of impressions, a lot of clicks, and not a lot of add to carts, then it's a conversion issue. Then your A+ content, or maybe it's not resonating with your demographic or whatever that is. So
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can think from as you said, having two tools to work together. We see the data. This is what it's kind of indicating. Let's go test and validate. We were talking about that earlier. Test and validate. So let's take a look, right? Is it our copy? Is it too long? Is it too short? Is it our images? Let's take like PickFu. Let's go and do some research on images. Let's create a few versions. Let's run some A/B testing and see do we get a different response. This was how it's been. We've got a new image. Let's test it. Let's let it run for X amount of time, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, just to see. Is there any change in the needle in the right way or the wrong way?
Yeah.
Maybe crud, we've moved the wrong direction, which is still good to know, right?
So
It's
you
painful.
so you don't keep on doing
it's
it.
painful, but oh man, that was a bad move. Let's pivot back.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
one of the things I think that's great about PickFu with what you guys can do is giving the ability to meet that buyer with the right image, right? We were talking about this that as consumers on Amazon, we're all about what we see. Right, the titles are great.
People don't read.
But they don't read.
on
No,
Amazon,
they look at the images first, and if the image is catchy, then they'll glance at the title and maybe the bullet description features. And if it hooks you
why?
enough,
But you know why? Not to interrupt you. You know
yeah,
why?
no, let me know.
To validate what they're seeing. People look at the images, they see what they like, then they go to the title to validate what they're seeing. Because images are for robots.
Right.
I'm sorry, text are for robots, images are for humans.
Yeah, you make a great point. And how often I see this all the time? Does the hero image not really? It looks like one thing, and it's not too closely related to the title or what the actual product is.
You're like, conversion issue, you're gonna have negative feedback and have problems.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they tie hand in hand very effectively because one is giving you the information of why certain things are happening. The other gives you options on how to address it, and then go back and track it in Cobalt to see how is it trending, how are things doing, and do it in kind of that flow back and forth where multiple tools working in synergy, you can do a lot more with them, right? Like we were talking about AI, and I was talking about it earlier in the conference, how you can leverage it to try to streamline your workflow, try to get better results, right? We were talking about listing optimization specifically and leveraging AI for that, and where people go wrong, where people go right.
Oh man, forget it. Like if you're just plugging in your write me 5 bullet points for my Amazon listing about cat's pajamas, you're not getting the right thing at all.
Like, not even
prompt
close.
engineering is a real thing, and
preach it.
and understanding that you have to do prompt engineering with data that you're looking at to make sure you're saying the right thing, and then testing it again and testing it again. So you just get inundated with the most nonsensical things from AI. AI is a powerful thing, but it's also a horrible thing because people think that a first run with no prompting is the golden ticket.
We all know one gun and run doesn't work, right? Like you've got to iterate on it, just like anything. We were talking about that. I read an article last week. There's a guy, Andy Crestodino, he's a co-founder of Orbitz Media. Like put out a white paper on LinkedIn or whatnot about 5 ways to use AI for gap analysis for your buyer journey. So I was like, wow, I'm going to be talking about that. That's a really interesting article. And one of the things that he brought up over and over was, AI can be great, but you got to have checks and balances. It can hallucinate. It can give you poor responses. And one of his big things was, and I was talking about earlier, your input directly affects the output. So back to prompting. And so Andy had this thing, he called it, you have to have a multi-prompt process, which is kind of a mouthful. So as I was talking to people earlier, I'm calling it MP squared. It's way easier to say, it's kind of catchy, multi-prompt process. But to your point, you have to iterate and you have to refine it because it's not going to spit out a perfect answer, but it can help get you moving in a direction.
60-70% of the way there, 100%.
Oh yeah, but you always have to still say that I've got to still be involved. It's not 100% on anything.
I have seen some AI, some Zap, or Make.com flows, or a lot of these AI people, where they're showing, iterate this, and then at a certain point in the prompt, check your own work and look for anything that sounds like it's AI prompted. Do it again. then it's almost making AI check itself again through a lot of these
giving
prompts.
it almost a double check. Like, rewatch this in, like again.
Yeah, like comb over this again and pull out anything that sounds AI or that's not focusing on these, long tail keywords, this MKL or whatever it is, right? So
yes.
It's advancing a lot for sure.
Well, so it's really interesting too, because it's when you think about it, completely, I don't want to say new skill set, but it's offering new opportunity in the e-com space from a careers perspective and things.
Yeah.
If you're really good at that and you can look at that and you understand how prompts work and how to format them and how to iterate and how to utilize that.
I love prompts.
Oh my gosh. There's so much opportunity right now because it's the sky's the limit right now. There's not really a limit on what you can kind of do with AI at the moment. It's very much just pioneering and charging forward. And these folks that really get it are going to be crucial. I feel like, especially in the Amazon space, for the brands and then like for the agencies that work with those large brands that leverage it effectively, they're just going to be so far ahead of the competition so quickly. That if you're not already on board with it or trying actively to bring it into your team, you're going to be you're going to be a dinosaur. You're going to be the carrier pigeon really fast.
So let me ask you this: what is your forecast if you had a crystal ball? I've been asking everyone yesterday and today about if you had a crystal ball.
I hate this question.
Crystal ball. What are the winning lottos tonight for the Utah State Lotto? No, I'm just kidding. What do you think the landscape on Amazon is going to be like? What do you think the biggest hurdle for sellers is going to be? Is it going to be adapting to things like AI? They're going to start to kind of peeling into listings, whether it's images, text, data. Is it going to be hunkering down data to make sure that we're using it in the best case possible? Like, where do you see, like, fees are always going to be there.
Yes,
ad spend.
That's probably the one that everybody says, oh, damn those FBA fees. Yeah, you know what?
But if you didn't have FBA fees, there'd be no Amazon, there'd be no sales.
I mean, it's a balance.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I get it. Yeah.
My diamond shoes are too tight. Like, what are you gonna do? You gotta live with it.
Yeah.
But what do you think is gonna happen for the next Q3 and Q4 as far as like a prediction of like, what sellers should be looking for, or how Jungle Scout can help them overcome? Like, obviously, Prime Day is coming, which I'm not excited for because they've lost its luster where it's like it's really not a huge deal anymore. It's like a 10% off kind of thing. But like,
it's the tax-free weekend kind of approach. And you're like, if you gave me a 20% off coupon, it's better than tax-free weekend. Like, it's kind of like,
Yeah, I'm just not. It's just. But where do you think, like, is Jungle Scout like the next big thing, like gearing up in Q3 for people in Q4 to make sure that everything's buttoned up, like, or is it totally evergreen and you guys really don't care about Q4 kind of stuff? Like, what's the next thing?
So a couple of different kind of answers within that, right? Kind of a couple different focus points from a time perspective, right? Yeah, near future, what's gonna be happening. So, on the Amazon side, you hit the nail on the head. People are gonna be complaining about those fees a lot. That's like the thing that everybody complains about right now. Yeah, it is what it is, no big deal. But on the other side of it, there's going to be this huge influx, I feel like, of people trying to leverage AI and doing it poorly. And I feel like a lot of businesses are going to suffer because they're going to be trying to re-optimize a listing and they lose the right keywords that they had before, or they use a software to create an image and it doesn't resonate well, but they're so proud of using AI to create this image, and our sunk cost is, we're so proud about this.
You hear that, people out there trying to play with DALL-E and Midjourney and Meta WhatsApp kind of images? Don't just think because AI created it, it's the coolest thing on the block.
Now, a great way, that you could that you could use that as a short-term solution. I need an image for my listing so I can get it listed until I get my better images and I get it all put together.
That's a fair statement. Yeah.
To just get it on Amazon, knowing the image is not going to convert super great, but it hits Amazon's criteria, and I can at least get my listing live. And then when I get my products are in transit, when I get my products in and I get photography done, or I get it, and this is I think is also going to take off as well, right? People are going to be moving away from kind of traditional photography studio type sessions,
100%.
but they're going to be needing businesses that can do it digitally through AI.
100%.
So there's going to be a lot of tools, like you mentioned, where individuals can use it, and I think that's great. It's going to be scrappy, but at a certain point, you really have to invest, and this, right? From working with businesses, scrappy's good
to get going.
It'll get you there. Scrappy will get you here, but it won't get you there. That kind of mentality. Yeah. And so I think there's going to be an influx as well, or opportunity for businesses that really can capture that niche type of market and offer really unique services that the brands, like we talked about, that really get it and understand how to leverage as a tool, right, as a commodity, will really move forward. So I think you're going to see this kind of diverge in Amazon, where you've got listings that are kind of the quality's going down because it's just using the wrong tools. And then there's going to be a small elite group that are just rocketing the other way, that are leveraging the tools really effectively. They're really tapping into the image aspect. Right? They realize we are visual learners and buyers, and that is the first line to hook you, and that's the first way to get in. And really, most people are going to buy off the image anyway.
Yeah.
Like honestly, they're just going to click into it to see a bigger version of the image. That's sad but true.
That's how I shop.
That's how I shop.
I don't read anything, especially on my mobile phone when everything. I was just showing a brand owner outside. He invested in this brand story module and A+ content. I show him on mobile. You can't read any of it.
You can't. Yeah. Oh yes. Another thing to think about too. We talk about that. Where do your buyers find you? Okay. What's the platform look like? Because we talk about like we have shared voice metrics, and we have two signal sources. Is it a desktop layout or a mobile browser session layout? Because they're very different in how they look and where you show up.
So cool, dude.
Where you show up on the page. Mobile, what desktop? Banner ad. You got maybe a grid, maybe a stack pattern. You don't know. Amazon, like depending on the keyword.
Oh yeah, especially like electronics. It's a single column.
It's all over the board.
Mm-hmm.
But on a mobile, it's always first three products, or like first three positions, like headline, first two sponsor, and it's consistent.
Yep.
And so when I'm always training with new clients using our tools, we always talk about that. How do you want to understand share of voice? First of all, do you know where your consumers make their purchase from a platform perspective? Because if you do, we can now put that lens on. Let's put glasses on. How do they see it?
Exactly.
Because if you're only thinking desktop and you get 60% of sales from mobile and your A+ content sucks on a mobile, you've missed the boat, right?
Yeah. I'm geeking out over this now. I know you guys just got. Is it a new CEO?
We just got a new CEO.
Like literally
this week, Monday.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm gonna throw a caveat out there. Everyone knows Greg Mercer.
Yeah.
Right? Founder Jungle Scout. Greg's still there.
Yeah.
Greg is still on the board.
Yeah.
But Greg is expecting a baby girl in about 2 weeks.
Oh,
Be a
nice.
second. He has a baby boy. He has a boy right now, a toddler. Expecting a baby girl. And Greg, who's one of those individuals, be hyper focused. But he's also really good at realizing I only hyper focus on one thing at a time, and I can't really do the day-to-day of Jungle Scout and be the dad I want to be.
Of course.
So he's still going to be involved. He's still going to be involved strategically. He's on the board, but he's going to step back from the day-to-day operations so that he can spend more time with his family. And we just brought in Jay Lovelace, and Jay's going to be taking over the day-to-day kind of new strategy initiatives, working hand-in-hand with Greg and the board to move us forward. So we're really excited about that. Just got the chance to chat and meet with him earlier this week.
Do you know how I know that? Do you know how I know that this?
I heard that. Did you guys connect?
He requested.
Okay, yeah.
He requested
something about this.
He requested me on LinkedIn, and I gladly accepted,
That's right, yeah.
And then I said, hey, I'm over at the show. I'd love to talk to your team about some stuff. And I think he put up a red alert and told. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he did. Red alert via Slack. It's not so much of like, hey, John wants to talk to you. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're around the show. We'd be happy to chat.
Dude, this is super awesome. I'm so glad we're able to connect. And I'm gonna ask two asks.
Sure.
One, I need those socks.
Oh, I got you covered.
All right,
I got you covered.
Two, I really want to do something more in the next coming weeks where we can kind of talk about data on both ends, contextually and behind the scenes of SEO, but also with PickFu for the images. But the ask is, I don't have a Jungle Scout account, so maybe Jay can hook me up with a Jungle Scout account?
Yeah, maybe. We need to give it a test run.
Okay.
Great context.
Fair.
Okay, now, what account? Are we talking small, medium business or enterprise?
Oh,
level?
No. I just want enough to get my beak wet to see, poke around and show some cool stuff and geek out.
Oh, okay. We'll get you in. We'll get you in, and we'll get your account set up. We'll walk you through it so you can play with it and test it out. And
Awesome.
we'd love to hear your feedback on it too. All right, I'm new in Jungle Scout. This is my experience.
Yeah.
I'm just honest, right? If it was great. If it was horrible, hey, that helps us make it better.
Clearly, I love making videos, right? And I always like to talk about best practices and where things can be done and cool new things and where people can bootstrap little things to make maximum impact. And I think you guys have that really nailed down, and it's awesome. You guys are everywhere too, everywhere and anywhere. I just see these orange shirts.
The orange shirts, they stand out. We have the orange shirts too. If you really want to pull together, Jay, I get you the orange shirt and the socks. because when your socks match the rest of the outfit, it just.
Do you have shirts at the booth too?
Oh yeah. Just give me your size. You can tell me off film, so you don't have to be embarrassed. But
I'm an extra medium.
Extra medium. Got it. I'm a childish medium. It's kind of like a midriff. But yeah, we got the shirts and the socks.
But dude, it's been a real pleasure, man. I was listening, no BS, I was listening to you talking while I was having some breakfast, and I think it's super interesting when thought leaders and subject matter experts talk about things that affect their clients, their customers, their audience, that aren't directly only their product beating down in their heads. And I think that makes you very universal and renaissance when it comes to the space. So that's awesome, man.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you for spending a few minutes chatting with me, man. It's been a pleasure. I had a great conversation there.
We'll speak soon.
Awesome. Sounds good.